Автомобильные аварии, травмы на работе и другие неприятности могут настигнуть каждого. Звоните Фатиме. Хиропрактическая клиника поможет справиться с последствиями аварий, производственных травм и других несчастных случаев. Наши опытные специалисты окажут профессиональную медицинскую и юридическую помощь и помогут получить максимальную компенсацию. 503-261-71-21. 503-261-71-21. О, Фатима.
Новости региона, выборы, кандидаты, стремления. Новая программа Slavic Vote Live. Каждую неделю в прямом эфире. Slavic Vote Live дает голос славянской общине по всему северо-западу. Мы говорим и информируем о важном Вашингтоне, Орегоне, Калифорнии. По четвергам в 17:00. Присоединяйтесь к прямому эфиру на 10:40 АМ. Ищите Slavic Vote в соцсетях. Мы намерены продолжать продвигать свое видение и оказывать любую необходимую поддержку сообществу, чтобы изменить ситуацию к лучшему. Slavic Vote Live.
Добрый день. Добрый день. Вы слушаете передачу Slavic Vote Live. Меня зовут Дима Сащенко. Мы сегодня приходим на эти волны, чтобы, как обычно, напомнить наших славян, наше общество по поводу, какие выборы проходят, какие мероприятия, что проходит в этом году по поводу выборов и голосования. И вот, как обычно, мы приходим на эти волны, чтобы иметь разных гостей, поговорить с интересными людьми и также помочь понять, просто поговорить по поводу выборов. И вот у нас сегодня будет очень интересный гость. Я ее сегодня представлю через пару минут. С нами, как обычно, Ярослав. Ярослав, как у тебя самочувствие?
Хорошо.
Отлично.
Погода прекрасна, у нас в Орегоне дождя нету.
Да, сегодня уже нормально, да, но уже 2-3 недели почти дождь без остановки. Ну вот надеемся, что немножко будет теплеть и будет хорошо. Ну, конечно, да, у нас, как я сказал, что вот практически на носу уже выборы у нас в Орегоне, очень важные выборы, о которых мы сегодня немножко поговорим. Я знаю, что в Вашингтоне тоже есть выборы, и Ярослав нам поможет ответить или скажет, какие даты. Вот если вы живете в Орегоне, вот будет уже практически через месяц будут очень важные выборы. Это значит, что вы имеете очень мало времени, чтобы проверить, если вы зарегистрированы. Если вы не зарегистрированы, у вас осталось практически неделю-полторы, может быть, самое много, чтобы зарегистрироваться, чтобы поучаствовать в этих выборах. Если вы раньше голосовали, если вы постоянно голосуете, вам не нужно опять регистрироваться. Вы можете просто ждать ваши бюллетени, и вы получите, и можете проголосовать. Те выборы, которые будут проходить в этом году или в этот раз, это очень важные локальные выборы. Мы об этом немножко на прошлой неделе говорили, и уже практически целый месяц говорим по поводу орегоновских или в этом году локальных школьных выборах. Это по поводу школьных разных представителей. И вот дата будет мая 16-го, это уже будут предварительные выборы практически, где вы можете проголосовать. И большинство из этих кандидатов, которые будут на этих выборах, они уже будут, если они выиграют, они остаются будет в этом году уже участвовать. Если нет, тогда они могут перейти на следующие выборы, которые будут, значит, также потом у нас будут еще одни выборы 22 августа в этом году, и также в ноябре 7 уже генеральные выборы, которые могут быть большими или могут быть маленькими. Это уже зависит от разных вещей. Но мы об этом больше поговорим уже в будущее. Значит, в Вашингтоне тоже у нас выборы, если Ярослав может напомнить.
Да, я просто повторю даты, которые, чтобы, когда к вам придут бумаги или бюллетени, то чтобы вы знали. Первое у нас будет это апреля 25-го, это будет у нас special election.
Это уже в Вашингтоне уже мы говорим.
Да, это в Вашингтоне. Это будет special election. Я думаю, там многого не будет. Там обычно 2-3 таких голосования. В прошлый раз совсем только одна вещь стояла на бюллетене. Люди посмотрели, думают, что такое здесь происходит. Потом 1 августа это будет primary election.
Это уже школьные вот эти.
Да, и как Дима говорил, что это primary, потом November 7th или 7 ноября у нас уже будет это general election.
Да, и вот тоже, так как в Орегоне, так же в Вашингтоне, большинство кандидатов, которые сейчас балансируются, это локальные школьные представители, или сказать можно school board elections. Те люди, которые будут участвовать и, как правильно сказать, которые будут ответственны за школьное образование, это может одно
Да, ну как совет заседателей,
Да.
или которые будут управлять, куда будут двигаться школьные программы, куда
Бюджет,
финансы будут,
да. Очень важно,
распределяться.
очень
Да.
важно. Это, я бы сказал бы, может быть, даже важнее, чем даже за президентские выборы, потому что это влияет на наше местное
Ну
жительство.
да, умы наших детей и
Да, да.
поколений.
И вот я советую всем, кто, может быть, раньше не голосовал, проголосуйте в этот раз тоже. Если, может, вы пропускаете эти такие маленькие выборы, как называются, вы можете, я советую, вы не пропускайте, голосуйте, это очень важно. И потому что обычно каждый год, сколько там, 20-30% обычно людей голосуют в этих выборах.
Да.
И много теряется.
Да, и я думаю, если вы получите бумаги, то выполните их, и я думаю, там за неделю хоть их
Да.
оставьте, а не за день, потому что обычно люди, ждут до последнего, и это, конечно, не сильно хорошо.
Да.
Я думаю, недели как минимум.
Да, и вот вы можете, опять, если вы, может быть, раньше не голосовали, может, первый раз вы услышали об этом, вы можете еще зарегистрироваться, чтобы вы могли проголосовать на этих выборах. Вы можете зайти на нашу страничку slavicvote.org, и там будет такая кнопочка, называется Register to Vote, и там вы можете зарегистрироваться и можете уже участвовать в выборах в будущих. Опять, если вы живете в Орегоне, если вы не зарегистрируетесь вот через неделю-полторы, к сожалению, вы в этих выборах уже не сможете участвовать. Вам придется уже на следующие выборы. Но вы все равно зарегистрируетесь. Это очень важно. Хорошо, Ярослав, спасибо, что ты сегодня здесь. Мы перейдем уже на английский язык, потому что у нас с нами американка, женщина, Кортни ее зовут. И мы с ней немножко пообщаемся, у нее очень интересная история. Я одну вещь быстренько просто подчеркну, что если вы живете в Вашингтоне, это люди, которые живут в Вашингтоне, Кларк Каунти, и вы, может быть, вам нуждаетесь в помощи оплаты за ваше жилье, за аренду, вы можете найти на нашем сайте, есть информация, сейчас в Кларк Каунти есть помощь тем людям, которые нуждаются как выплаты, выплачивать за вашу аренду, если вы, как говорится, low-income family, да. И вот если вам нужна эта информация, вы можете пойти на нашу страничку, вы можете пойти на наш веб-сайт slavicvote.org, и там найти такую строчечку services, и там вы можете найти больше информации. Или просто наберите slavicvote.org/services. И вот такая страничка вы будете видеть, где будет показана табличка, там вы можете найти больше информации, где ваша категория, и там уже будет написано, если вы будете подходить или нет, и вы потом можете оставить вашу информацию, и с вами там будет портал, и там есть по-русски, по-английски у нас есть, и по-украински тоже можете найти всю эту информацию. Спасибо большое. Мы переходим на английский язык. Courtney, thank you very much for being here. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. You're coming all the way from Clackamas, so it's a far drive for you.
I am.
And
It wasn't too bad.
good.
Yeah.
And you're back to back with different interviews. Is that correct?
Yes. This is my second today.
Second and not
Yeah.
last.
Not the last.
You got more coming.
I have more. I'm excited.
Sounds like you're running for something.
I must be.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
you've been doing a great job so far. We just
Thank
met
you.
maybe a month ago.
Yes.
And I've the little that I learned, it sounded really, really interesting, and we wanted to have you on the radio to share your story, because I think that's just part of the reason why you're running. Perhaps is just your story. I think is going to be very interesting for people to listen, and hopefully people will resonate with it and perhaps find themselves wanting to run as well, because we need more people to run, because all the time there's not enough good people running. So. Especially in these small elections. Everybody wants to run for president, but nobody wants to run for little things, which
I agree.
oftentimes could be more important than the president election, which is obviously also around the corner. So, but before we jump in, I usually have Yaroslav do a quick introduction of who Slavic Vote is, what we do, and just take a quick moment to remind our folks. Maybe.
Yeah. So we're a nonprofit. We're about 4 years old. Pretty young in the politics sphere. But yeah, so our main focus is in the Slavic community is just to get people registered. That's what we realized is we had a ton of people here. None of them were registered. That's what we spent doing about the first 2 years of our organization, is just literally going to any event, churches, community events, going out there and getting people registered. And then we realized that people didn't know who to vote for, even if they're getting the paperwork. You've probably read those ballots before. They're confusing even to me.
Yes.
And I had some kind of education.
Yeah.
But it takes a lawyer sometimes to get those things deciphered. And that's what we kind of did, is we kind of helped the Slavic community with that process. Then we went to education, which was that, second, third part. And last, what we're actually doing was trying to get people to be more active, which school boards is a really good one, because we had a couple people from even our board run. It was a great experience. We weren't looking to win specifically, but just to see what the process is like. What's the paperwork like? What's the workload like if we get into the position? What's
Very
running
intense.
for the position like? Which is what we really want to learn today is, what does it take for somebody that wants to become a member of their community? Like I said, most of these positions are nonpartisan. They don't pay. So you're really doing it because you really want to help people. There's no real benefit to the person except maybe that fulfillment of getting something done. So that's what we're kind of about, and we're nonprofit. So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I mentioned, just when I was speaking in Russian, the election that you're running for is the election of May 16th. And then we also have election on August 22nd that most people might not be aware of. And then obviously the general election in November 7th. And then we also have election dates in Washington as well. And those are going to be April 25th for special election, August 1st for the primary election for the school boards, and November 7th are also for general. So I just want to remind those dates so folks can, put a note on those so they don't forget to vote, and they don't forget to, get involved around those areas as well. If you want to help candidates, if you want to just in general get involved, those are the dates.
If you're in the Clackamas area,
especially
come
in
help me
Clackamas,
door
yeah.
knock.
Yes. So we obviously you're running for Clackamas area. That's a lot of people who listen to this radio know what that area is. So these waves do reach that area. So there are perhaps people that are listening right now that are living in that area. They would love to hear more from you. So go ahead and just start off with sharing who you are and just your story, because I think that's always important. That's probably my favorite part is just to hear the story, and then we can just go from there and ask you some follow-up questions.
Great. My name is Courtney Swersben. I'm running for seat 2 on the North Clackamas School Board. I am running because I noticed a shift in the district when it came to transparency during COVID with the community. And I am running just solely based on wanting to get the politics out of the schools and reinstating education and true inclusion. A little bit about me. I am from the Midwest. I born and raised one of 7. I grew up in a rural area, and I moved to Oregon when I was around 23, and I met my husband. We had some kids. We settled in Clackamas, and now we're here. They both attend North Clackamas School District. So we've been a part of this community for a long time now, and we've put a lot of effort into making sure that our kids feel like they are included in the community. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know that I don't know how much you want to share about your time in Michigan is where you were born, right? Because from the little that I've heard, there was an interesting story. And
I'm like one of 7. The Slavic community is going to love her.
Yes, let's do it.
So yeah, if you want to share, go into that, because I personally think that a lot of times affects people why they run, and just in general, it affects their lifestyle.
Okay, so I grew up in, like I said, rural Michigan, the Midwest. I was born and raised in a church called the Shermanites, and we are a mix between the Amish and the Mennonites, but smaller, a much smaller congregation. It was like probably a congregation of 300 maybe, and my parents were evangelized basically into this community. And then I was their first baby. They had my 3 older siblings. And then I was the first baby born into the church, and then they had
Is that the only
3 more.
location that the only group that is part of that kind of?
So I right now I don't know. So they have split up into groups of like the younger generation split up and opened up a church, and then there's the older generation who stayed, and then there's another group that I'm seeing. I haven't been in that scene for quite some time. Like I said, I was kicked out when I was 12. So it's a very interesting story. So I don't know. I just see a lot of, and then some of the groups can have Facebook. I know when I was in the church, it was very, like everything was secretive. You couldn't share your life with people outside of the church. So I'm liking this new progression that they have going on. It's good, but the conversations that I'm having with them are very. They're like, we're still a part of the church, but in a different way. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been all over the U.S., and I can say that just the East Coast or even Midwest is way different than the West Coast.
When it comes to
just people and and then social media that's gonna seep into everything eventually. So
Yeah.
But I have stories. I actually have been in that area. Yeah, it's good. I really like the culture because people are super friendly out there. I've
they
driven
are
through.
so friendly.
Yeah.
I'm not used to this. Moving out here, it was a culture shock for me, to say the least.
So what is? Can you remind me the name of that?
The
church?
Shermanites.
Shermanite. What is their belief like? What does they believe in?
They were a non-denomination. Basically, they read the Old Testament, and they only
No New Testament. Huh.
no New Testament. Yeah. So, and that's what that is what they based all of their idea. They got all their ideas from the Old Testament. So, the men ruled.
Interesting.
The women were to take care of the house, and the kids were to be seen and never heard. So, yeah.
So you're one of the oldest of the 7, right?
No, I am not.
Okay.
I am the middle, the one that got lost
So
in the crowd.
you still,
I'm the youngest, so
yeah,
I know how that feels.
I was definitely the one that got away with, well, I won't say I got away with the most, but I was definitely the most wild in my family, and the one that was just like, I got this. Like, don't tell me what to do, So, it was good.
That's awesome.
So do you stay in touch with your siblings?
Yes, I do.
That's good. And you have them visit you?
Yes, I do. Okay, so they, my sisters are all in Oregon, and then we all moved. I followed them here because my mom first moved here, and then she brought my sisters here. I always say my favorite sisters, but I can't say that. But she brought my sisters here, and I was like, I need to move because I miss them. So I left Michigan, and here I am. But yeah, I'm in touch with all of them. It's good.
So when you moved here, you were at 22 years old, you said?
Yeah, I was like 20.
22.
I was 23 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just kind of started living here and
Yeah,
doing your thing?
I moved to Eugene, integrated in the culture and lifestyle. And
So what made you want to run for the school board, other than what you already mentioned? Was there like something that you related with, or something that was just I know you mentioned you could just you're tired of seeing the politicization of the school boards, and just how many kids do you have, by the way?
I have 2.
2 kids.
I have a 2-year-old, not that. I have a 7-year-old who is in 2nd grade, and then I have a 6th grader who is 12, and she,
Okay.
So the reason I am running is because the community asked me to run. I've had a lot of community members come up to me and ask me that I would be a great voice for them and for us as to bring the community back together. But I am running too for my own personal reasons, obviously, my kids for one, and two, it's because I have had things happen to my family in this district that I am not okay with. And I want to change the narrative, and I want people to understand that this isn't what my inclusion looks like. When they're talking about being inclusive and the board members now, it looks nothing like my inclusive. So I just want to change that, I guess.
So for the Slavic community, we've been telling them so many times already, like, go to the school board meetings and really see what it's like. What was your first school board meeting, or what actually even prompted you to go to a school board meeting?
Well, number one, I have only been to school board meetings online, never in person.
Mm-hmm. So that's an option I didn't even know was available, actually.
Yeah, it's an option, and it's
started
one that I
COVID?
want to change. I think it's important that school board meetings are in person so you can connect personally with your community. That's what it's for. It's for our community to come in and have an open discussion, and for us to voice how we're feeling and things that are happening to our kids. And right now we're being shut out, and it takes a lot of effort to get signed up to speak at a school board meeting, or to even get a link to watch it. So I'm all about open in-person meetings. So
is it currently there's no online? Is there no in-person options right now? Is it
no
all-
in-person options.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I want to know why.
Was this something that might have happened prior to the COVID or
Yeah,
after
well,
the COVID
they said
situation?
that they went back for the safety of their board members, and
Not the kids.
not the kids,
Just the board members.
just the board members. So.
Okay, interesting.
That's strange. I know that like even Eugene, which
Yeah.
is pretty, they would probably take a lot of those precautions. Even they're back to in-person meetings in Eugene
Yeah.
and probably Portland.
Yeah, well, I just want to know what they're afraid of. Like,
Yeah.
why are you afraid to have these conversations with the community? Yeah, we're going to have to deal with some tough times. We're always going to deal with good and the bad, and you got to take the good. You got to take the bad with the good, and vice versa. So,
So just before we get too far in this conversation, Dimitri mentioned earlier that this is a position 20. What was the position?
4-year term.
4-year term. Okay.
It's a 4-year term.
Can you kind of give us an idea of like which area this encompasses?
Yeah, so it's
because this radio
it's-
station goes to like Salem and everywhere else, so we kind of can narrow
Yeah.
it down for the people.
Yeah. So it's Gladstone, Clackamas, Happy Valley, and parts of Milwaukee. And
Okay.
I think a little part of Damascus.
That's a very heavily populated
Yeah,
dense
it's
area.
24, it's 17,000 kids, 30 schools.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big deal. This is a
Okay.
big election too, because you have 4 seats that are open up for re-election, and that it never happens. So it's a big deal. We have a chance to flip these. The candidates that I am running with, we have a chance to flip these seats, and that's why we need people to come out and vote for us, Angela, Tara, and Amy, and I. And
So how many seats are there in total?
there's 7 in total.
7,
and
4 up for election.
Yep, and
Wow,
3
that's-
left. Yeah.
Well, I was about to ask if you could highlight those names of the other candidates. Could you? I know you guys kind of go in a plank where you guys go out and kind of sometimes go together
Yeah.
and have events. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do. We are working together. We all know that it's going to take a team effort to get us on that board, and we understand that, and we're all working together. People like to call us a slate. We're not a slate. but we do share resources. We are doing flyers together and things like that. So
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've met, I think, all four
yeah,
of them.
you met Angela, Angela Peterson, Amy Rainier, and Tara Nelson.
Yeah, all of
they're
them.
they're
Yeah,
running with it.
yeah,
with
all of
me.
them have interesting stories, and they're different people all across, and I think it'll be an interesting election.
I haven't heard this before.
Yeah.
This is like some kind of phenomenon where like 4 candidates or 3 candidates get together and run. I mean, it's amazing.
happens
because-
Yeah,
and,
it's
because
they're
it's like you
doing
have a
it
camaraderie
on
before.
the on the others, not on the other side, but there's also we're running against people as well.
Okay.
I have an incumbent and I'm running against her. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's good. I want to take a quick moment, take a little break, and thank some of our sponsors for being here. So before we move on, so some of the sponsors I want to remind today, we have always Pelmeni, one of our favorite dumplings. They're a great sponsor of ours, Andre and his dad. We also have the Cibaroni dumplings that they use, another organization. Then we have also Dream House Construction, America's Best Realty, Exceptional Homes. Then we have Nina Martinov Realty, Solutions 8020, Gold Cup Coffee. Those are some of the names that I wanted to highlight today of some of our sponsors that allow us to be here. And I just want to remind folks, if you do want to help our mission, you want to help our cause, and you want to continue help us continue this mission, do consider going on our website, pressing that button, and contributing whichever amount you feel comfortable with. Any amount is highly appreciated, and we thank for that as well. That'll help us continue with the mission that we're going with. And just a reminder, the election that you were talking about, like I mentioned in the beginning, it's going to be May 16th. That's coming up just about a month from today. And
Voter pamphlets will be out April 26th.
Yep, exactly. Those are, I know they're already available digitally online. So for folks who want to, just curious, they really want to see what's in there, you can always just go online and see it before it comes to your house. And I know those are available already. So, but we have like I said, big election, really important. And if you're a Washingtonian who are listening, those are coming up also just in a couple more months, which is, I believe, August 1st is the primary election or the election for the school board, but you guys also have a special election that is going to be a lot sooner than that, and I believe it's do you remember the date? It was like
for the
primary election for Washington was I believe
the
August.
special election was
April 25th, so that's next week. Next week there's going to be a special election in Washington, so and it's not going to be for every person, it's just going to be a specific area. So if you do receive a ballot, then you do qualify. I do want to remind folks we will have some resources on our website for these elections. So if you're looking for assistance of the which candidates align closest with the Slavic community and the ones that represent the community the best, those resources will be available, like always, on our website, slavicvote.org, and you can get that information just by visiting our website. And always don't forget, you can always find that. You can also always find our videos from previous episodes on our YouTube, on our social media, and so on. So, well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. We have quite a bit more time left, so I just wanted to kind of give you the floor to share what's on your heart. I also wanted to get into just your experience about how you, what it took to run for office. I know for some people, it could be very complicated. For some people, it could be very simple. So that process, maybe go ahead and start with that and tell us.
How long was the application?
Yeah.
The application took like
It's pretty short, right?
6 minutes.
Wow.
And then I paid $10 or $7
Yeah, it's around there.
to submit my application. Yeah, so that was not bad. I didn't know what to expect, honestly, when I was asked to run. I was just like, yes, I am ready. I've been ready for this. Let's do it. No, I was not ready to do this. This is a big undertaking, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of hard work, dedication, discipline, and sacrifice. I've sacrificed a lot to be in this position and to be doing this, and it's very nice to get a different perspective of what candidates go through. And for me, I am so humbled and happy that people actually do this for us and are a voice for us. So what my day looks like, what today looked like. I woke up at probably 5:30. I was freaking out. I had a big interview and I wanted to prepare, and got on the phone with my campaign manager around 6, had some coffee. We were talking, we were going over interview questions and how to respond. And we talked for like from 6 to probably 8. And we just went over what the day was going to look like, right? And then we are doing digital media right now and our digital marketing, so that we're getting ready for that. And so we were going over that. And then right after I got off the phone with him, I had to head out and go to my interview. I met with her and we spoke for about an hour, probably a little bit over an hour. And then right after we left the coffee shop, went into the neighborhoods and started door knocking. She came with me. She had a photographer with her. I went home. I ate. I got my son off the bus. My husband was like, I got to go and run an errand. And I'm like, you got to hurry. I got to go. So and then now I am here.
And then you got
And-
another
this.
Yeah, and I got another event after this, and I'm gonna be late for it. It starts at 6:30.
So
Well,
But that's what my days are looking like right now, and sometimes I don't even have time to eat. But it's worth it, and my kids are worth it, and your kids are worth it, and it's worth spreading the.
like Yaroslav mentioned, that these positions doesn't cost. You don't have to pay. You don't get paid.
You don't
for
get
these.
paid, no.
Right, but it does cost to run. How much does it cost for you so far? Like approximately, how much would somebody expect to pay for something like this?
Okay, so far I've raised almost $13,000.
It's really good.
Almost. I'm not there. Hopefully tomorrow I'll hit that
pretty good.
mark.
Still pretty
I'm
good.
excited. And it's about that much and more. I need more, I need more support, and the more money I raise, the more recognition that the four of us are going to get. It's important. Money is important in this, and campaigning. And I didn't realize that until I was at a dinner, and a very influential person, because I was like, "Are you gonna give me some money?"
Dr. Tara Emmer.
And he was like, "Were you standing next to me?" Wait,
Maybe, but
were you? Because I was like, "Are you gonna give me some money?" And he was like, "Well, no, that's not how things work. That's not how this works." And I was like, "What?" But then
politics require a lot of funds. This
he
is
was
what we
like-
kind of realized too. It's like it's even if like we from our organization, we're all pro bono, right? For what we're doing, so as a nonprofit. But finances, if there's no finances, you can't even market. You were talking about marketing, right?
Yeah, you can't do
Those
anything.
marketing campaigns
You
besides a flyer
cannot
can be
do
a
anything.
lot of.
I got 2,500 of these for roughly around $250 maybe.
Yeah.
That's cheap. Okay. And then that's so cheap. And the guy, amazing. Frank, shout out to Frank.
Yes.
Okay.
good deal.
What's his business name?
U.S. Mailing.
U.S. Mailing.
It's
Okay.
out of Salem. Amazing.
Awesome.
He's on point too. He answers your calls and your texts. So he's pretty good.
So I don't really want to scare the Slavic community, because it sounds like your days are packed. Is it because it's just such a competitive area that you're in for the school
Yeah,
board?
This is insane. This is probably one of the first years ever that school board members have field signs.
Hmm.
I
Because-
have
because we-
32 field signs up,
Wow. Because
ranging from Oregon City on I-5, 212, up and down Sunnyside, all over the place.
we've talked to people from other school boards that were running for school boards, and I don't think they were doing like 5%
Right.
what you're doing.
No, it's a
as
big,
far as maybe it's just just the area. I think is like super competitive.
Right.
it's a big deal.
Yeah, when we had people on here who kind of ran and then declined,
Yeah,
didn't want to do it, and they still won.
yeah.
You know, you're talking
That's
about like
scary.
waking up at 5 in the morning
Yeah,
and you got
yeah.
your whole life planned out for you. And I mean,
Yeah.
with family and kids, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, where are the kids in this?
That
But
is,
I mean,
that's a sacrifice that I'm making
wow.
for them.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it for them, and I think they realize that, and I think they're really happy to see me running and
Yeah.
doing this. They wear my shirts to school, and my daughter will be on Snapchat, and she'll be like, "Look, mom is running for school board," so it
I'm
makes
like,
me.
we got to do a shout out for your husband.
Yeah, and I know we have to do a shout out for
Amazing.
Alex. He has stepped up, and he has honestly been my number one fan, and I can't say
Yeah, that's
there's so many good things to say about him. He's honestly one of the best humans I know, and he has really stepped up to the plate, and he's like my driving force too, because he's been there for me since I moved here, basically.
yeah.
But
That's awesome.
he's awesome.
So
He's an awesome dude.
as we go on, I got your flyer. If you guys
Okay.
haven't seen it, it's a really nice flyer. You got your family there, and
Yeah.
but there's some really interesting points on here that I think we should definitely touch up on.
Yeah, let's
so
let's
the first
do it.
one, kids not politics.
'Kay.
That's like, what do you mean by that specific statement, or what do you want people to understand? Like, hey, kids not politics. Let's say you come up to somebody's door. What do you tell them?
When I come up to someone's door and
Yeah,
I tell
like
them,
door knocking.
and they ask me about kids not
Yeah.
politics, it's so different when I go and door knock, because some people don't. I was going off of your question, but people don't usually have time to talk, or they're just like, okay, yeah, I'll look at your information and thank you. Even if you ask them a question, they're still very like, okay, yeah, I'll look. And then, but when I do get a chance to talk to them, I tell them, and they ask me about kids and not politics. It's honestly, bring back education in our schools. Right now, our students are failing. They are under the state minimum in reading and writing in high school, middle school, and these are our future. And so I just, when I say kids and not politics, you have them right now in our district, you have them segregating people by the color of their skin. And that's what I mean by stop with the politics and the division and really focus on these kids and their education. That's part of it. So
Yeah, because I heard that even in Oregon, because the standards were so low that they were actually lowering them again.
yeah, they did.
And then one year, I live in Vancouver. I think it's happening across the country, though, because I live in Vancouver. And one day, the kids came home. They're like, we're not going to have homework anymore. I'm like, what? My wife called up the school and like, is this true? Or are they just like,
Yeah, my daughter doesn't have homework.
I'm like,
She's
no,
brought-
homework.
I've seen her bring maybe 2 assignments home from school. And I'm like, what are you doing? Homework. I'm like, you have homework?
Yeah,
It's
which
just-
was a shocker.
it's
for
a shock.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because I mean, we've seen politics kind of creep in, into schools, and we can kind of touch up on different subjects or not. But yeah, I definitely like that stance.
Yeah.
And then
Get it out.
the second point is accountability for all.
Yep.
What do you mean by that specific statement?
It means parental involvement, and
Okay.
we need parents to actually care enough to come and talk at our board meetings and to voice their opinion because, like I said, this is our next generation, and we need them involved. And we also need them we need to know how they're feeling and what's going on. And we need volunteering and stuff like that in our community.
I think that's so important. I mean, it's a subject I don't think we've ever actually touched upon with any of the people that were running for school boards, is the parent involvement. Because I know some cases, like, for example, Bill, they live in Happy Valley area. I'm not sure if they're part of the area that you're running for, but the school that they were going through is that they actually required a certain amount of hours from parents to actually volunteer in the classrooms. And I was like, wow. So my wife, I think she tried it to do it in Vancouver, and they wouldn't let her do it. And I'm like, why would they not allow parents, to go into a school and kind of see what's being taught? And it kind of feels like it gives you this notion, like, are they hiding something? What are they, doing over there?
Yeah.
It's like they get
right
your
now,
kids for 8 hours and you lose control
can't
of
go
them.
into the schools right now. They
See-
won't. They're not letting you volunteer unless you have a vaccine.
Ah, okay. It's just another way to filter people out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
okay.
unless you're vaccinated and unless you have a
Yeah.
what are they calling it? A religious exemption. Yeah. Yeah. So that's another thing that I would like to get the COVID policies that were placed out.
Well, there was a news article that they removed it nationwide already. Like the whole country
Yeah,
is now more under the COVID umbrella.
Our president said that we're done with COVID. And our district, they have always been months behind, and I do not understand that. And I think you always have to follow the money.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
What are some ways people can learn more about you, where they can find more information on you, and maybe if they're interested to help out in any way? What's the best way to reach you?
So you can. I have a website at Courtney for northclackmiss.com, and I also have my email. It's Courtney for schoolboard.com. So my website is Courtney for schoolboard.com. That is my website. And then my email is Courtney for schoolboard23@gmail.com.
Okay.
So much to remember.
Yeah.
And then you can donate. I have a donation link. I have a sign up link on my website that you can go and you can say, hey, I want to sign in my yard, and I want to come and help you door knock, or I'll make a phone call for you, or I'll just post on social media for you. So any and everything really helps. And
then you do have social media?
I do. Facebook, Instagram, all of it. And it's under Courtney for
That name.
yeah.
Your name. Yes.
Yeah, it was
My
on
name.
it was on your website.
Yeah,
I went on there
okay,
earlier. It's got everything tagged in
Yeah,
there.
Courtney for NCSD on Instagram, and then Courtney for NCSD on
For a second, I
Facebook.
thought maybe you forgot your last name, but
Man, I forget. I always forget something. It's always
it's all
something.
good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
I just wanted to kind of end our program just reminding our folks, our listeners, with just earlier that I mentioned about the rental assistance. So if you live in Clark County, if you live in that area, you can simply visit our website and you could find more information on this rental assistance for Clark County residents. So you'll find a chart like this. It'll kind of break it down to the scale, and you'll be able to then apply on an online portal, either in English or there's other languages as well. So you can choose that, and you'll be able to see if you qualify for this rental assistance. So if you maybe maybe a Ukrainian refugee, maybe just a general low-income family person, you can fill that out and see how much what kind of support you can get. Well, we've got a couple more minutes. I just want to throw it at you, see what you want to tell the community, because the community has been, like I said, been here for a long time. They've been some have been voting, a lot have not. What's your message to the community? And you can even speak directly to the camera
Okay.
if you want
Yeah.
to tell them directly why it's important to vote now in this election, and just in general why it's important to get involved.
It's so important to get involved because this is the smallest of the elections. They're getting bigger, but this is the smallest of them, and only a couple percent of the community votes and gets out there. So we need about 10,000 votes to win, and we need you to get out there and register to vote on May 16th, and just get out there and support your community because it's for the kids. It's not this is a very serious situation. So that's what I have to say for you all in our community is it's important to do your part. So
Perfect. And
Yeah.
have you checked the last cycle when the last person ran, how close the race was? I'm curious because I always like to look at that and see.
4
how
years
close-
ago.
Yeah. 4
yeah,
years.
so
Still-
my manager has that.
Yeah,
I haven't personally checked.
a lot of times it's like a couple hundred votes.
Yeah, I think it
which-
was a couple hundred between.
it always is. It's
right, and that's why it's so important for the community to vote, because that a couple hundred votes can lead
Really matter.
really matter.
They really matter.
Yeah, because I know
Yeah.
we've had examples that other guests showed us and told us about. Like, I mean, I think it was like 5-10 votes or something.
Oh
It was
my
ridiculous,
goodness.
how close they were able to.
Could you
win.
imagine? I would be like, oh.
yeah.
It's it would be devastating if it lost by 5.
Yeah,
5
even if you
votes.
don't have kids, you also need to
Yes,
vote too.
even if
'cause-
you do not have kids, that's important. That's one thing. And even if your kids go to private school, even if they're homeschooled,
yeah.
you are still a part of our community and your voice still matters. So
Well,
I think,
your taxpayer money.
And you're
is-
paying
yeah,
taxes.
yeah, you're paying taxes.
So that covers
Yeah.
true.
that's all involved in there. So
Yeah.
and we don't really talk enough about the political tax credit, because this is also an important time.
Mm-hmm.
I think to remind folks that you have a political tax credit that is that you write off around this time of the year. So so when there's all these political races, there's other organizations that are C4, maybe PACs. Basically, in Oregon, they give you a $50 credit, or essentially your taxes that you pay. There's about $50 that gets allocated into this fund that you can, in many ways, allocate that to a cause of your own that you're passionate about. So if you don't use it, it just goes to a general fund. But it's always best to then direct that money to a cause, to a candidate, to an organization that you're passionate about. Unfortunately, Slavic Vote does not qualify for that, but other organizations are, and candidates like yourself and others. So when you do donate that $50 per couple or per person, $100 per couple, then when you do your taxes, like right now, you could write that off, and you actually get that money credited back, or whatever the terminology is. But it's not like a deduction or something. It's a credit.
So
So-
would that work, for example, like in Courtney's case and the 3 people that are running with her?
Yep. Anybody who donates that $50 to her cause or to her campaign or
Okay.
whatever, they can write that off. And
we'll owe
get that.
$50 less
Yes.
to the state.
I'm just from Vancouver. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't have that there.
It's very unique. It's
Just Oregon.
I can't think of any other states that has this.
Yeah.
It's very unique, and I think some people want to get rid of it, some people want to keep it, but it's very rarely utilized. So if the community really understands it and takes advantage of it, it could really help quite a bit. So, but that's about all we have for today. I know you have to run, so
Yeah.
I'll end this program a little bit short.
Thank you.
And I know we all have to run, so
Yeah.
we'll end it short for today. But I just want to remind folks, election is just around the corner, just a couple weeks left. We got May 16th elections, and that's going to be yourself on that race. We're gonna have
Angela,
Angela,
Tara,
yep.
Amy.
Thank you for reminding those names. We
Yeah.
also have others in other counties and other areas. So if you are eligible to vote, if you're able to vote, make sure you're registered. Make sure you're voting this May, and also August for the Washington, and then obviously everybody else. in
Yeah, and I
November.
want to put one thing out there.
Yep.
When you get your ballot, turn it in right away.
Yeah.
Don't wait. Okay.
Yeah, there's been a kind of a movement from the last couple of years to wait till the end of the election to bring your ballot, And I think in some areas there is a strategy to that. I think in Oregon
Yes.
it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
So in Oregon, from what we are hearing, it's probably best to turn in your ballot as soon as possible. The earlier the better,
Yes.
for a lot of reasons. So once you get your ballot, fill it out, and send it in.
Yes.
And if you don't want to send it in, you can just drop it off at the election. I actually take an extra step. I will fill it out. I will go to the elections office. I will have them look at it. I will have them verify my signature, make sure, and then they'll once they tell me yes, this is good, it's all counted. That's when I leave.
That's next level, man.
So
I
just
like
because
that.
it's-
That's smart.
because I don't want it to.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
unregistered me
We
to
had
vote
over-
because of my my signature
Huh.
Yeah.
last election, and
Had
I
a
was like,
lot
oh
of-
no, you're not
A
doing
lot
that.
of rejections. I think that we had like what
Yeah.
3,000 or something
Thousands, yeah.
in Clark County.
It's
It was
quite a bit. So
Wow.
I know people. There was a huge
enough
movement.
to swing.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
So
votes.
make sure your signature counts. Make sure your everything is perfect, and you can always also check on the website if you do mail it or you drop it off. You can check the status of your ballot. Make sure it's been counted, and then if it's not, then you still have those
Mhm.
couple weeks if you
Yeah.
do but early to fix that. So
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you for
we
having
will end it here. Anybody else has any last things they want to say?
No, just
good.
thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for our listeners. Thank you for our viewers who are here today. Just a reminder, like always, visit our website, slavicvote.org. There's going to be a lot of great resources. There's more resources coming, especially for the Ukrainian community. There's going to be some interesting things that we're going to be announcing regarding the Ukrainian refugee programs. So visit our page that's under services. There's going to be some interesting things there. Like I mentioned, the rental assistance is there, and everything else is going to be on there. So, and once the election comes, we're going to have those resources to help you determine the best candidates that best represent the Slavic community. But other than that, we will see you guys next time. Thank you, Yaroslav, Courtney, all listeners. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Slavic family, for having us. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thanks.